In person.
Yeah.
Thanks. Hi, how are you? Yeah.
So. Let's get seated and get started. So those people have to leave early and want to get to the market. Go ahead and call the meeting to order. Can I get a, need a roll call for attendance, please?
Ariana Glassman. He's on my out.
Marie, sit.
Rodriguez,
Here.
Chris Belsky. Christine Soberns. David Muir,
Here.
Lane Fitzgerald. Here. Ina Lee. James Pancallo,
Here.
Jenny Modion.
Virtually.
Thank you. Joanne Felmeth. Here. Carol Lundgren. Here. Keith Blackburn. Marie McKenzie. Matthew McNeil.
Here.
Melissa Milroy. Here.
Mary McKenzie just walked in.
Meredith McCleary. Here. Michael Cook.
Here.
Raylene Story. Here. Robert Kessler.
Here.
Ron Drew.
Here.
Thomas Park. Tim Petrillo.
Here.
Don Freeman.
Here.
Does that signify a quorum? All right, we have a quorum. Having a quorum, can I get approval of the minutes from last meeting, please?
Motion to approve.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
All right, so we don't really need the mics in this room, so I just wanted to do a quick introduction and thank you all for coming to this quarter's MAC meeting. We have a packed agenda for you all. The airport, Steve Bellamy is going to give us an update on what's going on at the airport. And then we have our advertising agency, Aqua, is going to be giving an update on our marketing plan. We're then going to go through some of our social media outreach and then an update on the convention center cities. And then we're going to do a lovely tour of the convention center if you all are still available. So,
Out of curiosity, how long do you think the tour was going to last? Make sure everybody's enough time.
Tony, I think
I can do as quick or short as you want. 15 minutes, is the quickest probably.
Okay, so we'll try to get through this agenda by, say, 11:15? Yeah, okay?
perfect. All right, Steve, you're up.
All right.
Welcome, Steve, we miss you.
Thank you. I don't know. Can you all hear me okay?
Yeah.
Said it was a quicker somewhere.
Here you go.
What's the behind this slide?
You just point that.
That one? Okay, well, good morning, everyone. Glad to be here. It's been a while since I've been to one of these. Yeah, I probably, I can see this screen for sure.
You have been requested by this group to
Yes.
more frequently because we miss you. So.
Thank you. Good re-invited. Okay, so here's what we're going to talk about, and I have 7 to 10 minutes according to Pamela. So first couple of slides, we're going to talk about passenger traffic and what's going on and who's flying where, news service, what we're calling blockbuster announcements, which probably aren't news to anybody. You've heard about all of those probably. But real quickly, just touch on some expansion and what's going on with, some of the primary master plan projects that everybody hears about, the intermodal center, people mover, those things. And I guess some Q&A at the end, if we have a chance for that, rather than as we go along. Okay, so as we go by the numbers, so last year, 31.7 million passengers, up over 2021, down 14% over 2019. And there's our unofficial ranking. And I'm told that you can get this presentation, so I won't, be reading right. But the bottom line is, obviously, we're up over last year, but we're still, year to date, we're 5.5% below where we were in 2019. And a couple bullets on what international and domestic are doing. The domestic traffic is rebounding down about 4% against 2019 and international. I have some slides up.
We can ask the individuals online to please mute your phones. We can
Well, I've got a lot of slides that back up some of this stuff, so you'll be able to get a better feel for who's doing what. Market share for last year, Spirit continues to be our largest airline, 29% of the total traffic. JetBlue, 21%. There was a time where JetBlue was our largest carrier, and that is one of the reasons why our traffic is actually not at 2019 levels. I'll go into that a little more. Same thing for Southwest and on around the pie. So if Spirit and JetBlue were to do their thing, that would be 50% of the traffic. That's the old elephant in the room that I'm probably not going to talk about, but I'll probably get some questions. So here's a couple of slides. Here's a slide that shows international traffic is on the bottom, domestic is on the top. So you can see the gap slowly improving on the international side, whereas domestic is remaining relatively constant. So we've had in the last several months new service by Azul, Norse from Oslo and from Berlin. We've had Flair as a new Canadian carrier, Western to the Bahamas, primarily Nassau, has increased on the international side. And you'll see coming up, why domestic has been, other than September, which was, you recall, a hurricane in 2019. I was trying to remember the name of the hurricane on the way over and I couldn't. So if anybody wants to pull that one out.
You don't like to.
Yeah, we don't, forget hurricanes. So other than September, you can see domestic is kind of parallel to 2019 and the international is moving slightly. And so this is a good slide. This one shows, this is January to August. So this is current stuff for this year, scheduled departures. So the ones in red are the ones that are, and this is 2019 versus 2023. Hard to believe it's been that long since COVID hit. But anyway, between JetBlue and Southwest, they're down 58 departures a day. And that's primarily domestic. They're still flying significant international runs, but 58 flights a day is a lot of flights. And so, when we're down 5-6% versus 2019, those additional flights would put us, you hear about those carriers that are, or those airports that are exceeding 2019 levels and on and on and on. We'd be in that group. So these 6 carriers here are 90% of our traffic. So whatever they're doing really dictates what's going on with the rest of the airport. And you can see that most of the other majors are pretty much at where they were a couple of years ago. American has made a couple of decreases, so they're down slightly 2 departures a day. Here it's been pretty aggressive. They're up 13 flights a day over the same time last year. So that really kind of explains a lot in terms of why we're not at 2019 levels and what domestic's doing versus international. This is another picking on Southwest and JetBlue today because I got nothing better to do, right? So this is another slide. This is just another visual that shows JetBlue is the white one. So the top is 2019, the bottom is this year, and Southwest is the whatever color that is, kind of orange. And so you can see the discrepancy between where they were at and where they're at now. So it's just more data that kind of explains we have that leveling off. But the good news is this is scheduled seats. What we've been talking about so far is flights. you see the little parentheses, we have 156 seats for departure in 2019. That's up to 175. So there's almost 20 more seats on most of our planes. Planes are bigger, which is good for actually the aviation industry as a whole. Congestion at airports, a lot of airlines are flying bigger airplanes. So even though our flights are down significantly, you saw the 50 or 60, whatever that Spirit Southwest jet number was. Seats are almost, here we're at 1% in August. We're almost at 2019 levels because we're flying bigger airplanes. And Spirit and Frontier have narrow body planes that have 228 seats. It's almost like a wide body. It's flowing into customs with 220 people on board. It feels like a wide body. So this has been really, really beneficial. And actually, this month, the load factors have been through the roof. We could be up to a 3% over 2019, primarily because of high load factors and larger airplanes. That's a great slide. At least I thought so. Here's our route map for April. April, we have an average of 280 daily departures to 91 cities in the U.S., 83 to international destinations, 83 departures to international destinations to 22 countries. So I've listed the top markets, and those are in order of passengers carried. The domestic hasn't changed a whole lot. On the international side, though, a couple of years ago, the top of that list would have probably been one of the Colombian destinations, or maybe Port-au-Prince, possibly Cancun, Nassau. Well, they're still up there. Canada was really hard to get in and out of, so we had really to cut back Canadian operation. But now that has changed, and Canada has been our largest market forever, and it's back to being that way now. So, a rumor has it you can get this presentation if anybody wants the top markets, domestic and international. Camilla can either send it to you or however you're going to do it online. Yeah, so you can see from the map, we're going across the pond to Berlin in May. Well, that's one of my blockbuster slides, so I'll just keep it a secret, although you probably already know about it. Okay, should not, right? This one is a little hard to read because the font's so small, but basically it shows it's a country comparison. April of 23 versus April of 2019. So on the top of that list is Canada, like we were just mentioning. So it compares daily departures. So in 2019, we had 11.8, which is basically 12. And now we have 16. So we have more Canadian service than we had when we were really peaking. And so that chart goes down until we get to a lot of the red is stuff that Norwegian was flying. And they are obviously not flying anymore. Well, yeah, they had only pulled out. I mean, they got out of the wide body business, which is where Norse got the airplanes from, actually, from those guys. But most of that is Norwegian. Emirates, of course, we're sorry to see them go. And Tom A was a Ecuadorian carrier that flew with us for quite a while, and they pulled out. So a lot of that we won't see again. Some of it is frequencies, and you can't see it from the back. Well, you can see it on the screen, but it's a pretty good chart for comparison if you want to know where the growth has been, where the growth has not been. Once you get that one, you can check it out. So here's some new stuff. We had Avelo started a couple of years ago, new carrier, low fare carrier. High load factors are right off the bat. Really surprising. So most recently, they started flying to Wilmington, Delaware, and Raleigh-Durham in February this year. We've got Frontier, new service to Las Vegas and Cleveland in November of a few months ago. Swoop, Canadian operation, returned. We had been missing them. A couple of new services by Spirit, Norfolk, San Antonio. Of course, we were just mentioning introduced new service to Berlin in December. They started their Oslo in June, right before that. Berlin has not been very successful for them. They, and Jim and I were talking about it earlier. Norse's problem is that they're an origin destination type airline. They don't have a feeder network at either end. And so particularly Berlin is really a feeder market. When Air Berlin flew in a couple of years ago, 25% actually got on Berlin and got off on Miami. 75% was connected. These guys didn't have the 75%. So the airplanes are flying around a third full. So they decided to make it seasonal. They stopped flying in March, and they say they'll be back in October. We shall see. Azul's been really cranking. New service to Manaus in December. They resumed Belém. Belo Horizonte is coming down the road in June. So that'll be great. And their load factors are good. You were down in Brazil, they're probably telling you how great they love us and all that, right? Some days they have 2 wide bodies to Sao Paulo. There's a lot of seats, like 600 seats. But we're all excited about it all. So here's my block post announcements that everybody knows about. Through the paper or, or from these guys. So, for London, they starting May 26th with 3 weeklies going to 4. It's going to be hard for Norse to screw this one up. That is a huge market in Miami. And when Norwegian flew it, packed every day. So we're really looking forward to that. Hopefully we'll get them to spend some marketing money this time. They have not been very successful in doing that in the past. We've offered, here's the checkbook. So there's that. That's a great photo. That's actually the first flight coming in from Oslo. And we have, this is pretty serious stuff right here. El Al to Tel Aviv, starting in September, October for the Jewish holiday season, and then year-round starting in early 2024 with weekly departures. So we're working with them now. It's a very difficult operation to get going. The security requirements are unbelievable. What they do. Quite a lengthy check-in. They do interviewing at the ticket counters. They do interviewing at the gates. They bring their own screening equipment in to double screen the bags after they've been cleared through TSA. So there's a lot of handling and a lot of labor involved, but it's going to happen. And I'm sure you'll be able to hear some more about that. And we've got this one, which I find extremely interesting.
This is great.
Question mark.
Best news ever.
This is.
Or the elephant in the room is a question mark.
For 25 years, forever.
We needed that for.
Yeah, forever.
But Tallahassee.
Yeah.
So this is JetBlue who came down here and schmoozed everybody with this flight to Tallahassee. And so it's supposed to start on January 24th. It's kind of woven into their merger agreement or their takeover of Spirit. So depending on how that goes, that's why the question mark is there. But actually talking about 2 flights a day, every day. Tallahassee.
It's great.
So you won't have to ride Silver anymore.
It's Miami, America.
If still here.
If Silver would fly.
Yeah.
If Silver's still around.
So it's still an airport, right? Yeah.
They're here so far. I think next week is the vote on that.
The unreliable.
Okay, so that's that. Airport development. This is just a little bit of information from our master plan video. That's where this picture came from. So going forward, we've opened up some concessions lately. Tropical Exchange on the top left. The Hip and Humble's getting some rave reviews if you haven't seen it. It's in Terminal 3. We've got Mac Joe Malone. Again, in Terminal 3, and we have the duty-free shop in Terminal 2. Right here is our new escape lounge, which people have been screaming about. But isn't for Fort Lauderdale have a business lounge or a common use upper class, first class lounge. We have one. And it opened up in October. It's packed all the time. It's in Terminal 3 and it gets really good reviews. So we're very excited about finally getting to that. And we're actually talking about another one. Sounds like that. So Terminal 5, you've heard about, it's a construction project that's been in the works for a while. It's in the design phase, so we're hoping to complete it in about 3 years. That'll give us 5 additional gates. Originally, it was going to house Spirit. Now it's kind of a moving target in terms of who we're going to put in there. But we need the room for growth, and so we'll figure it out. And the connectors, which are, you can see the connector between, right here, between terminals 1 and 2 and 2 and 3. We have the connector between 3 and 4. So that enables passengers to move between terminals without going through security again. But more importantly, from our perspective, it gives us a lot of operational flexibility. Right now, we have airplanes departing from Terminal 4, and passengers are checking in Terminal 3. It's like you're in the same terminal. You don't have to go outside. So that really gives us a lot of flexibility that we didn't have before. And going to do the same thing once we build these other connectors between the other terminals. And those look like they're going to be completed somewhere around 2027. So hard to build things these days. Escalating costs, construction problems, bottlenecks, I mean, you name it, and we have it. For the Intermodal Center, the project document is being developed with our tenants. Next step is environmental review. Anticipation completion is down the road, 2029. There's the people mover, right below that. Similar steps for completion at about the same time. And the Ever Popular Airport Hotel will begin being planned next year. And the estimated completion date will be identified once the planning starts to happen. And so that's it. It took too long, probably. But
We invited you.
do we have any questions?
I've got a couple.
Try to answer.
Yeah, go for it. So, do we understand why JetBlue and Southwest have reduced their flights? And is there any certain reason why they did that? Because it makes up most of the deficit.
Well, hear you back here.
I asked, is there a reason in particular why Southwest and JetBlue reduced their flights into in and out of Fort Lauderdale? Because it makes up the majority of the deficit from the 2019.
And from what markets?
And from what markets? Most of the markets are still served. They're just mostly frequencies. You know, you go from 5 dailies to 2 dailies, 3 dailies. We were talking earlier, you know, as soon as COVID hit, Southwest, JetBlue, in particular, American Airlines, parked their airplanes, come up with retirement deals for the crew members, early outs, on and on and on. And so both of these carriers tell us it's operational. They just don't have the airplanes or the bodies to fly a complete schedule. And, you know, we happen to be the airport that, they're growing in some airports,
And
not ours.
And my second question was, obviously with JetBlue and Spirit making up 50% of our market here, have any indication what happens if they merge, or are we doing anything defensively to try to recruit other airlines in to offset any loss we might experience?
Well, that's like the $1 million question.
That's why I asked it.
JetBlue says they're going to 250 flights a day. Right now, they're at 70.
And how much was Spirit at?
Spirit's was 90 last month. There is now, so that's 150 more or less. So they said they're going to add 100 flights. Now, I don't know if you heard about this one. The state of Florida came up with this deal with JetBlue, which is actually a contract. It has penalties for not doing what they say they're going to do. And so they don't, next year you're at this percent, then you're at this percent, then you're at this percent. And so it's kind of a guarantee that if the merger goes through, that they'll do what they say they're going to do. If they do that, then the new carriers filling the void won't be even an issue. Frankly, we wouldn't even,
Space.
it'd be pretty tight all the way around. I mean, they do like 7 turns on the gate.
Yeah.
By that into 250, you get a lot more gates than they have. But having said that, we have carriers that are kind of standing by. We don't know what Frontier is going to do. The Frontier Spirit was the original deal. If that comes back out, then that'll be a huge low-cost carrier, ultra low-cost carrier. The landscape will change dramatically. Again, if it doesn't go through, or the board ends up, the board will be filled. Avello we have, we're still talking to Breeze, to get going here. So Spirit wants to go no matter what. So really, the whole thing is contingent on, I think it's later on in the year when the DOJ is going to make a rule on whether that deal is going to go down or not. So, but the question back there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was, again, just curiosity because I've just noticed as a frequent traveler myself that the parking lot seems to be at capacity. And is there a plan about how to manage that aspect of the airport?
Yeah, that one's, everybody scratches their head over that one, traffic being down, parking being up, actually parking revenue. So we looked at it pretty close, and what was actually happening, or still is happening, is people, there's a lot of telecommuting and people that quit their jobs and what have you post-COVID are staying, the cars are staying longer. So the capacity that we had in the past is not there because, so we have, unfortunately, the next garage is down the road. It's part of the intermodal center, which you saw what the timing was from that. I was saying probably, I don't know, not every week, but quite often on the weekends, we're opening up our overflow lot, which is not the greatest, but it's, you don't have a garage, what are you going to do? So that's really it.
Any other questions?
So, take a cab.
Uber. Jeremy, and
You
then.
want to try it?
Yeah. Well, everyone goes on the outside, so I get it. So my question is strategically, as a community, how do we say we are growing cruise business? We're building this massive convention center we're in. There's a hotel going up on every street corner in the next 8, and we can't get our airport to meet the same demands. There's going to come to a head where we're going to lose potentially. I mean, I am definitely not the smartest person in the room, but are we working closer to say there is going to be a problem soon? It's an 800-room hotel that's coming right here.
And my question kind of follows with
Okay.
that. And from a cruise perspective, how does cruise influence your numbers? Like, do you find that the airlines are,
That'd be huge.
yeah, exactly. Do you find that the number of, calls that they're making influence how many flights are coming in or out? I know we depend a lot on the drive-to market tour ships, but we're also depending a lot on commercial air. And I just
Yeah.
wonder how that's built into how are you analyzing the cruise traffic
There's
relative
a
to
lot
your
going on
results?
both of those questions. The most recent data that we have on an annual average shows somewhere in the high teens of our passengers are going to the cruise port, going on a cruise out of Fort Lauderdale. We don't really count the Miami part of it, but out of Fort Lauderdale, out of Port Everglades. And we work with the airlines on that, and we tell them about, there's a new cruise ship coming or vice versa. So I mean, the airlines are well aware of what's going on in the cruise industry. They know what proportion of their service, particularly the Southwest Delta, are big cruise airlines. But in terms of keeping pace with the future, That's the reason for the master plan, for the intermodal center, for people mover, for all the construction that we have planned. The fact that JetBlue and Southwest are, shells of themselves several years ago was certainly something that we didn't anticipate. If this deal with JetBlue and Spirit goes down, then we'll have between the two of them 250 flights a day, which will open up, according to JetBlue, many more frequencies, buku new markets in South America. They're talking about Europe and Fort Lauderdale. So
Does the concern though, if that merger happens, though, then they have market share and they have a control on getting everyone in and out of the city,
yes,
when everyone's depending on them getting.
that's the whole
cities.
that's
That's
the
a
whole
scary.
DOJ argument is a lack of competition once that merge goes through. And there's I got the number off the top of my head. I think there's 10 markets internationally that Spirit finds that JetBlue doesn't. So, what will JetBlue, Armenia and Colombia, but what are they going to do with that one? Their places down south. They tell us that they're going to maintain presence and going to be maintaining low fares. We, just kind of listen with a grain of salt. Their operating costs are way higher than Spirit, so you're not going to operate $39 to someplace when your operating costs are twice as high. So that's kind of the DOJ look at it, is that it's going to remove some competition, but and increase fares. And that's their argument against the whole merger deal. So we'll see what happens.
All right.
I'll talk to Steve after. I
Okay.
just had a question
All
about.
right, we have a lot. I definitely want to get to Steve. Thank you so much. We'd like to have you back more frequently. So
Anytime. It's been-
Yeah, because your insights are very, very, very good for our group.
Sure.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks.
Did you have one, Raymond, or no?
I do, but you know what? I'll just catch you later.
Okay.
No problem.
All right.
One.
Next on the agenda.
Yes.
Just feel this. Next. Well, maybe I'll stick around. If it's going to be good.
Great. Good morning. Can everybody hear me okay? So I'm Travis McClure with Aqua. As Pamela mentioned, we're going to run through an update of the marketing plan, where we're at year to date for the fiscal, some of the exciting things we've been working on, and let you know, show you some of the fun stuff as well. So first off, starting with paid media, these are numbers for fiscal year to date, October through March. We're at 3.4 million in total spend and 272 total impressions. If you recall, we launched our new brand campaign back in October. We really ramped up our spend and our impressions throughout the winter season. Quick look at comparing those numbers to last year, just so we kind of have a reference. Last year, we were at 2.2 million in spend and 134 million impressions. So we really came in strong with this new campaign and a heavy winter spend. One of our big and exciting things, I think you've all heard about this, was our Good Morning America initiative back in January. We brought in the Good Morning America team. They filmed in our destination and did a whole segment for their morning show. The program and our overall buy resulted in 17 million impressions. And here we have a little clip from Stacy's interview. All right.
Stay safe.
Great job. Very good. Thanks.
I'm not hiding. I'm sorry.
Another big part of our buy in March was a 137 million compression buy with Clear Channel Outdoor. We hit 11 of our target DMAs up north to really close out the winter strong and set us up for the spring. What we're looking at here was a high impact unit in downtown Philadelphia, where we featured our Everyone Under the Sun iconic shot. And they even lit up the building to match our brand colors. So some cool stuff there. On the PR front, these are again just overall numbers year to date, 350 million estimated reach, $5.7 million estimated ad value. At the beginning of the fiscal, our focus was on the launch of course, really getting coverage for the new campaign and our inclusive message. These are some samples of coverage received. And then as we moved into Q1, the focus shifted more towards the new Visit Lauderdale Food and Wine Festival in January. Also giving coverage on the impact of multiple LGBT plus cruises sailing out of the port. And of course, coverage for our ongoing renovations here at the Convention Center. On the influencer and fam front, of course, we're continuing to press for diversity and inclusivity. These are just a few examples of the people that have come into market or that will be coming into market soon. So we're, just continuing to push that message and show the diverse experiences we have to offer here in the destination. Live Nation, this is an exciting one happening as we speak. Through our partnership with Live Nation, we've got 2 handpicked influencers that you see here that are in market this week. I believe they're actually arriving today. To do a pre and during experience for Tortugas. So they have huge followings, and I believe this is estimated to reach over 8 million impressions from this campaign. And then for promotions, we've got several different things going on. I'm going to show you on the upcoming slides with a new program called Life on the Water, as well as our local artist, Avi Ram. And I'm going to show you as well, we've reimagined the Lauderdale Summer Marketing Program. And I'll show you that in a second. As I mentioned, the first partnership we wanted to highlight here was with Life on the Water. This is a new fishing content TV program. It's going to start airing next month across Discovery Channel, Bally Sports, and Waypoint TV. They came into market recently, and they've produced 4 full episodes to feature different parts of our destination. They do offshore, intercoastal, and out in the Everglades. So some really good fishing content for us to use moving forward. And then Avi Ram, some of you guys might remember him from a couple years ago. We partnered for an airbrush installation at the W Hotel as part of the brand launch. He's local here in Milton Manors. He's also been featured on some reality TV shows like Skin Wars, but he's really famous for his airbrush illusions that he does. So we partnered with him to do multiple of these illusion activations around the county over the next few months. This is a longer video, so I'll probably cut it short, but his first project was at the Convention Center for Sea Trade a few weeks ago, where he did a live activation there in the middle of the expo hall. So we'll show a little bit of that. Let's look. I'll skip ahead here in a second, but Avi's got thousands of followers across his social media, so he's going to be pushing out these videos and also on the content so we can use it for our neighbor. So skipping ahead, as I mentioned, we've reimagined the Lauderdale's program for a new summer campaign, which we're excited to announce as the 101 Days of Summer. Really carrying us from Memorial Day weekend all the way through Labor Day weekend. We felt that this was a better positioning for the destination to focus on value and Greater Fort Lauderdale being the best place to come for the summer based on all the diverse activities and experiences that we have to offer. So positioning us based on that value versus discounts, I think it's just a better strategy for us overall to carry through summer. So, and I think this concept of 101 Days of Summer has a lot of fun extensions that we can do, build out a landing page with 101 ideas for people to explore and think about when they're planning and daydreaming. And then, of course, social media can have a lot of fun with it as well.
So that's coming.
Yes.
We have a date, like, you think we're gonna have a function?
Well, the 101 days countdown would be Memorial Day weekend, right? We'll have some of our advertising and social and all of that launching in May. On the inclusion and accessibility front, we hosted and sponsored the Pride of the Americas back in February. This brought thousands of visitors in to join the parade and also enjoy a weekend of celebration and entertainment with none other than Boy George in concert. It was a fun event. And then we also had a fun activation with Bakaya. Richard, did you want to speak to that one a little bit?
Sure. We've had a relationship with Bakaya since the company formed 5 years ago. And one of the things was I wanted to lure them to Fort Lauderdale rather than Miami to do their savings out of Fort Lauderdale, whatever Glades. So last year I came up with an idea of doing like a soft activation on board. No destination had ever done that on an all gay cruise or even an all straight cruise. So this year we did a complete activation on board. We had 2 videos running on TV monitors. We had all the digital boards above on board the ship. Every napkin, if you can imagine 2,300 gay people drinking for 20 hours a day, all the napkins had our logo on them. When you turned down, the itineraries had our logo. Everything was blasted. Visit Lauderdale. We did a pool party, lots of giveaways, sunglasses we gave to everybody. It was really successful. Lots of e-blasts. They now have leased the Apex for next year, and it's already 70% sold out. So that was one. We also did a soft activation on 2 Olivia lesbian cruises, and out of 4,000 people, 15 were from Fort Lauderdale. Everyone was from out of town, so it was just a great success. So.
Richard, thank you. I love this guy. Their activation, their programming is great. Feedback only. And I shared it with him for 2024, because 2025, because 2024 is done already. And they shifted off of President's Day weekend or back to this weekend. Because it kind of is hard for hoteliers for that President's Day weekend. It is what it is because it's done, but for future.
Okay.
Also, just want to point out that, with the launch of our new campaign, we really brought diversity, LGBT plus, and accessibility to the forefront of our visuals. And our objective with this year's plan was to make sure that gets rolled out across mainstream media. So you can see some of the outlets where these ads have run, from Google and YouTube and Facebook to things like New York Times, Afar, and Departures, and ABC. So really happy to be spreading that message. On the multicultural front, also have some fun partnerships going on. Again, we're featuring Stacy here. We recorded a full episode of a show called Traveling with Danella. She produces half-hour episodes that she travels all over the world, featuring different destinations. So we hosted her here, and she featured our beaches, nature, dining, and all of our cultural experiences. And we did an interview with Stacy at the rooftop bar, so we'll share that as well. That's where we cut it. But this is a full half-hour episode that will be airing on CW South Florida later this month, and it also gets syndicated across the country. Another great partner of ours is the Cultural Heritage Alliance for Tourism. We've worked with them for a few years now. The partnership we have in place this year is for an influencer program, tapping into their Black Travel Influencer Network. We're going to be bringing these 4 influencers you see into market over the summer months to increase awareness of our diverse experiences in the destination. And also just highlighting some new multicultural sponsorships for in-market events. You can see here we've got Unifest coming up in May in Lauderdale Lakes. This is the 29th year that they're celebrating, and this is the oldest Caribbean festival in the county. We'll also be presenting sponsor for the Orange Blossom Classic, specifically the Elevation Experience Women's Conference. So this features corporate and entrepreneurial female leaders that have really impacted their communities. So they'll be speaking and kicking off this Orange Blossom Classic event. The same weekend is the South Florida Book Festival. This is going to be at the African American Research Library and Cultural Center. And believe it or not, their theme this year is celebrating 50 years of hip hop.
Now, don't you all feel really old?
I couldn't believe that when I read it. And kind of moving on to group and convention sales, as I mentioned, and I think we all know C-Trade was here a couple weeks ago. This was a huge event, 500 exhibitors, 10,000 attendees. And with a big event like that in market, we really wanted to leverage it and kind of prove our concept that the convention center is open and can handle it, the space that we have, all of our services that we have. So we had a video crew there throughout the event. We're producing a few different videos to do. You're going to see here is a quick recap, but we also did a testimonial with their global event manager. So we have that. And we did a time lapse of the expo hall showing from bare floor expo hall to the full build out of 500 exhibitors to show the breadth of our space. So I'll show this quick recap video here. Also on the meeting side, we're in the process of updating and redesigning our meetings guidebook, which of course is an essential tool for the sales team So bringing this up to speed with our brand campaign, all the latest destination and hotel information. And on the events and sports marketing side, our in-market events are bigger and better than ever. This year, we had the inaugural Visit Lauderdale Food and Wine Festival, as well as the NHL All-Star Weekend in February. As we mentioned, Tortuga is here this week, and they're celebrating 10 years in the market, which is great. We're also going to be featured in this month's issue of Sports Business Journal, an industry publication, with a 4-page cover wrap featuring our world-class facilities and everything that we have to offer for sports and events in our market. And then on the global trade front, this is just a few pictures from a new 16-page international travel guide that we've been working on. This is going to be published in multiple languages and distributed through Visit USA's Essentially America publication. We're also going to have thousands of copies printed for our own use and distribution by the Visit Lauderdale team. So we're excited to get that completed. And then pre and post cruise. So last year we did a partnership with Farm Magazine for a cruise insert. We're expanding upon that this year. It's now going to be a 12-page insert going in the summer issue. We'll have editorial content about Greater Fort Lauderdale in terms of pre-post cruise travel things to do. We're also going to be opening this up as part of our business participation program for advertising opportunities for our cruise and hotel partners. So that's coming your way soon. But again, that'll be publishing this summer. And then we also have Cruise 360, another cruise industry event that's going to be here at the convention center next week. Visit Lauderdale will be joining with Port Everglades and other partners to represent our destination for that event. Noting that Tracy and her team will be doing their quarterly partner meeting next week on the 18th. Where they'll be diving into more detail on everything they've been up to and traveling the world and spreading our message. And as I just mentioned, business participation program, this has been an ongoing initiative through the year, really trying to get this built out and the foundation set for it. We did do a soft launch for the spring where we unveiled our landing page with the opportunities. We did a webinar to educate some of the partners on this new program. We're currently working on new summer opportunities, so that's coming soon, as well as building upon it and making a more comprehensive program for next fiscal year. And lastly, for me, just wanted to show a couple slides in terms of kind of market performance. The first here was from Visit Florida. They were here a few weeks ago for an HSMAI event and presented some of their top performance numbers. I think no surprise, but last year Florida received the highest visitation in the state's history and also ranking #1 in preferred U.S. destination for both domestic and international travelers. So lots of great numbers here for the state. And as we know, we have great numbers too, and even better in a lot of cases. So this was a slide from our own data that shows our hotel demand growth versus our comp set over the last couple of years. And we're getting record-breaking TDT numbers as well. But this also shows that we're outpacing our competition when it comes to demand growth. It's difficult to see Visit Lauderdale's the blue line compared to Miami-Dade, Palm Beach, Tampa, St. Pete, and Orlando. So and this covers over the last 2 years.
Can you get that data broken down by segment, meaning like luxury, limited service, things like that? Is that?
I don't know if this one specifically can.
We've got that. We do have that.
You do have
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Can you send that to me?
I think I'll
Okay.
find out what we're allowed to send out.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah.
That's it for me. Unless there's any questions or comments on the social.
I know. Does anybody have any questions? No, come on. I mean, come on. I know.
I just had some comments, so just some things on my end. One of the things you put up the group stuff and convention things, right? I think it was very quick in a sense. When you look around the hotels in this room, probably have a 30% marketing group business that we're relying on. And I think you just mentioned we're working on dating. Okay. I think I want to see a little bit more. And that may, you may not have it today.
We have another follow-up on this.
Oh, you do? Okay. All right. So if there's something more on that,
More coming.
because we're all seeing the transient kind of level, right?
Mhm.
And the group has really changed too. It's not looking far out. It's very short term. So we need activity needs to be taking place because it's not like, oh, I'm getting leads for 25 and 26 right now. When I look at the market comp set right now, we're all looking at fall and first quarter at the moment. We're all accounting. So it's something that's on our mind every day and it's our owner's minds. Thinking about the next piece on that one is I'm going to go back to the 100 days of summer, which I think is pretty cool. But I think you're saying you're going to launch it in May or Memorial Weekend. But I'm looking at my analytics now, and they're telling me that people are looking at summer now. So I'm doing my digital that launches in about a week from now because I want to capture that. So you're going to miss the boat on that. I think you're going to miss a huge.
Just to clarify a little bit, I guess in terms of the 101 days, technically falls between Memorial Day.
Right.
As far as launching the campaign and getting that into market, that'll be earlier in May.
Earlier in May.
Beginning of May.
Okay. Okay.
Anybody else? All right, so let's go into, thank you very much. Let's jump into social.
Perez. I'm the founder of Monetize Social. Today, we're going to review the progress we made during the quarter. We're going to talk about the growth. We're going to talk about how our strategy impacts the website. And we're also going to review some of our top performing content. Let's talk about Q1 growth. As you can see, we're up across all channels in every single metric. And I'll give you a few highlights. We reached 8.5 million unique people on social media. We had 149% growth in new Facebook followers. And in February, we implemented YouTube Shorts, which resulted in a 226% growth in views on the channel. One of our goals for social media is to track how engagement on these channels translates back into action onto the website. So some examples, we saw a 51% increase in website traffic from social media. 97% of that traffic were first-time website visitors, so that's great. And Facebook continues to be our top social media channel, which contributes to 59% of all social media traffic, driving traffic to the website. Instagram is our highest engagement channel. We hit a milestone, which is fantastic, exceeding over 70,000 followers on Instagram. Our page grew by 9% in Q1, which was higher than Visit Tampa Bay, Visit St. Pete, Clearwater, and Greater Miami and Miami Beaches. So what that means is we're growing a lot faster than a lot of our competitors on the social side. Part of our content planning is to make sure that we put an emphasis on highlighting various parts of the destination, not just the beach, not just Fort Lauderdale Beach. And as you can see, our top performing content this quarter includes Hollywood, Florida for Facebook, Miramar for Instagram, which we highlighted a Black-owned restaurant series on all channels, but on Instagram it was our #1. Fort Lauderdale Beach for Twitter and Pompano Beach for YouTube. To summarize, I know this is really quick, but to summarize, our social media strategy continues to evolve to not only be proactive, but also reactive to trends. And because of that, we're able to really escalate and achieve the substantial growth throughout all the channels because we're able to be really fast on the trends and be able to optimize our content on a weekly basis rather than coming up with a content calendar for the whole month. And then we miss out on some of those trends. Any questions on social media?
So the social media is very good. It is a huge change. I've gone to restaurants and parts of towns I hadn't gone to before. Backing up what Mike said, is there a way we can add a group feature to a social?
Absolutely. Yep. We this quarter we did start upping our LinkedIn and meetings channel. So we'll add some more updates on that for you. But that is now part of our content plan to have ongoing updates on those channels.
Any other comments or questions? Or Quite group thing.
Yeah, oh, sorry, Monica. Sorry, couple more. So on the co-op offer that was produced this year, I don't,
Business participation program.
for all the transient, for the group, for the piece. I don't know if a lot of people participated in that, from my understanding.
Right.
Okay, so. are
Well, I think we
looking
were a
to-
little like late to the game. We rolled it out and we needed a quick turnaround in order to get the assets to the publications in time. So that was on us. But we're building it out for the summer and the fall. In one more robust program.
Okay, and your feedback, your feedback was kind of like 35,000 and here's what you get. And it's kind of like, whoa, no one told us any type of idea, like the budget $35,000. And here's what you get. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, and have on these papers. So I think we need some preparation on that and the hotel and resort board, so we understand budgeting process and then what it's doing. And the other piece with that space is how are you going to differentiate yourself to the space that we're already in, right? Because we have our customers, right? We got to find new customers, right? So that would be something.
So I think that some of the outlets that we target allow us a little more opportunity than the specific hotel. So we open it up for you a little further than a target that you would go after.
Right. So if that can be,
Yeah, we just need to convey.
not right now, but that.
Absolutely.
And the other piece for PR on this one, with the sarcasm piece, what are we doing in this room to come up with something on a PR level that we can communicate to for what's happening now?
Sure. We have a standard message which we're happy to share with you all. We've been working with the city of Fort Lauderdale. They've been doing a great job in terms of moving it and how they're composting it. Thank you. So we've been getting very little requests from media on the subject, but we've tried them with our statement. We can actually say the Fort Lauderdale.
So the complex, so I'm in Hollywood. So that's what we got. We got different issues from House Hollandale doing House Hollywood doing this, House Fort Lauderdale doing this, House Pompano doing this, right? So I need you guys to come together and kind of help that out to go, here's what we're doing as a Broward County. Right? And I know that's a lot because everyone has to be in line with that, but it's unfortunately we are seeing cancellations for it.
To that point, I think we need to be proactive about that because the media outlets are just all over it, right? And they're putting out the message that this is a mountain of seaweed coming our way. So I think we need to have a messaging out there that says, well, yes, but we're managing the situation and it's clean beaches and that type of thing.
Mexico's already got theirs out.
Yeah.
I get you saying, we don't have anything we can actually say. Yeah.
So with our social channels, are you reposting a lot of content that you're finding on hotel content and that they're doing? I mean, we have a lot of people in the market that really do social well. And so
Yeah, it's a combination of both user-generated content and owned content.
Okay.
So started moving in 2023, Instagram really focuses on owned content rather than user-generated content. So we need to have a healthy mix of both to be able to have continuous growth. If not, it'll be a hit on our platform if we only use user-generated content. But we do feature hotels frequently on the luxury side at least 3 times a week. We're on various channels, so it is part of our plan.
Great. Anything else?
Question. Sorry. Are you supported with boosting? Or is it mostly organic?
This is all organic.
It's all organic. And so I guess my question would be, how big can we get the numbers if we're boosting against some of this?
We do have a small budget for boosting, and right now it's really to help boost our page profile. So we'll pick our best performing content, and then the call to action will be to follow our page, so that helps the global strategy of increasing engagement on all of our content moving forward. So there is a small boosting budget, and sometimes we use it for boosting the page. Sometimes for Pride, we use it to boost Pride. We also use it to target the Miami region when South Florida Food and Wine Festival with our foodie message. So there is a plan monthly that we have budget for boosting.
Okay, we've just seen a lot of success between boosting and geo-targeting. How much we could drive that business?
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you very much. All right, that's the convention.
Now we're getting to your point.
All right.
Is Mike Free on the line?
Yes, hello, can you hear me?
Hey, Mike. All right.
Hi.
So Mike is in Vegas, actually, selling out
Yeah.
Great Destination. So
Yeah.
we've asked them to dial in and give us a quick update.
Great. Well, yes, good morning from Vegas. So I'm Mike Pue, VP of Sales. And if you go to the next slide, I just wanted to introduce quickly our sales team here. We are 9 strong, in case you didn't know that. We recently also grew our team, adding a position as a sales leader and also somebody who's going to handle the West Coast accounts. And that individual is here with me. That's Eduardo Zuniga, who was former director of sales and marketing at the Gallery One Hotel on Sunrise. Next slide, please. Now, in addition to our sales team, it's important to know that we have several sales partners that are impacting sales at the convention center. Of course, we have our sports team at the CVB, who are 4 individuals, and I think you may have just met Glenn Allen, our new VP. We also have the team over at the convention center that is right there on property where you are. That's also a team of four folks. Omni Global Sales has joined, which is a team of 19. And now they're also retaining the resources of a third-party global sales team called Alhi, which they just signed off on a contract. So bottom line here is we've got dozens of people that are selling this project, which means lots of focus, lots of attention, and that's very exciting. Next slide, please. So just going back in time for a second, there's a lot of hurdles that we faced the last couple of years and have had to overcome, beginning with, as you may or may not know, but the center was closed for 2 years, completely closed due to renovations. It reopened about 1.5 years ago. So a lot of our business that we had, of course, went and found homes at new destinations. There's ongoing construction, as you can see out the window, or maybe not. And also without the capabilities of a director of sales at the Omni, we kind of hit some roadblocks where we would have a lot of pent up interest and demand. However, we just couldn't proceed with the years of 26 and beyond because we didn't have somebody who could physically write those sales agreements. But the exciting news is that's actually just changed.
And Mike, can I add one more thing to that too? Another sales hurdle that's related to that, not for the Omni, but we're also seeing hotels that aren't willing to book events 2-3 years out. So, when you talk about citywide convention center event, they're looking to book for 2028. If we can't get a contract at that time period for a room block, that's a problem. So I know Glenn will talk about that too. He's seen that with some of our sports events too, where it's the uncertainty. I know the hotels are going through that probably contributes to that, but there are quite a few little details that we have to work out here at our destination as we grow.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Looking at the next slide. So 23, there's 75 events that are definite at the center right now. That's just all sorts of different events between meetings, conventions, sports, and so forth. There's also 30 in tentative status. 24 and 25, there's about 20 with another 25 on the way to convert shortly. So really right now, what we've been consumed with the last 1.5 years is winning back our legacy groups. As I mentioned, they went to other destinations. These are groups such as CLIA, Cruise World, Pri-Med, Cheney Brothers, got some great martial arts groups that historically come over the summer. So probably about 30,000 room nights with those repeat groups. And then we're making new deals. I know that I heard somebody mention C-Trade, which was very exciting, arguably the largest convention that's occupied the center since the opening of the center in 2021. The history with that group is they were in Miami. So this year we won the group, 10,000 attendees over a course of 4 days and a total of 37 million economic impact. So exciting. We're working on trying to rebook 2026 for them. And as you heard, they gave us a great sales video testimonial, which we'll certainly use for a great sales tool, especially if a group of this size can come meet and have such a robust meeting during construction. there's no reason anybody can't. So we certainly want to prove that. UTC is another group that we booked: Heineken, Storm Ventures, American Jail Association, and now we're working on National Sheriff's almost 5,000 room nights to book that for 2025. Next slide, please. But one of the most exciting parts is, like I mentioned, now that we have a director of sales at the Omni, and in that capacity, that is able to generate sales contracts. In the last 60 days, we've been able to book citywide events. This totals $15 million in economic impact, about 14,000 room nights. So that's great. Hopefully this is the new trend, and we'll really start moving the needle for 26 and beyond when the Omni's open. Those groups are Public Risk, which is in 2026, and then we've got 2 for 2028, Osseo Integration and Crop Science. So that's kind of what we're targeting: medical, healthcare, financial tech, groups that really fit our sweet spot. And of course, we've got strategic action plans that are in line with what our comp set's getting. So our folks are really targeting those groups. Now this slide, Eduardo's actually going to jump in on this one.
Hey guys, good morning. Eduardo, and I'm really excited to be here and letting you know some of what we're doing to push the needle here. We have an extremely active sales team, and as Mike mentioned, we're aligning all of our strategies and our actions towards the goal of filling the city. Just for example, with 44 events that we're participating in and leading in the industry to get all the word out, we are doing 7 sales missions where we go out and go take active do sales calls in on markets. We have 4 familiarization tours, which is where we fly folks in who haven't been down here in a while, haven't seen the transformation, and really show them what we can deliver as an overall destination. And of course, really highlight the center that you're going to go tour in just a little bit. Some of the recent events that we did, we were in Columbus earlier this year in January at PCMA. The results there were pretty great. We had 75 sales contacts with people. We uncovered 3 citywide meetings to the tune of upwards of 5,000 room nights, of opportunity. When we also went to a new show in Denver, which is where I'm selling the Western market. That we haven't touched that West Coast market in a while. I've been able to uncover a 7,000 room night opportunity for 2027 that I'm working on actively, and was able to meet with many clients there as well. And we were able to partner with Omni Hotel. So they're also out there, as Mike mentioned. Our team is not just what's here, but what's out there. And we were able to do a lot of connectivity since now we're running with Omni. We're, of course, focusing on the Northeast as well. We did a nice sales event at the Far Hills Race where we bring in a lot of high profile, insurance clients, pharma clients. Those guys are booking the short term as well. So we're impacting not only the center, but we're impacting short-term sales 23, 24, and beyond. As we mentioned, we're looking at National Sheriff's has come back from going to contract for 1,000 room nights. We have the Osseo and the agronomy, which we had already booked and we talked about. And then we're going to talk about a little bit about some of what's upcoming. So we have, we're right here in Vegas. Each one of us, I have personally 40 appointments on my calendar. And we're meeting people at different networking and trade show events. It's really exciting. They like to hear everything that's happening with our package and how many rooms we can offer in the center. We also going to be doing the same thing at C-Events Connect in May, where we meet the third-party partners there. And in Cancun and Montreal, we'll be doing MPI and PCMA. These are huge shows where we are all meeting the right people in the right places, in market and out of market, to get them to know what we have to offer. And we can leverage everything we've been talking about. But what's exciting is now that people want to come see the progress at the center and our new 800-room hotel. We're doing these destination previews, these FAMs that bring people down here. And we have right now coming in May, we have 2 of them. We have 16 planners confirmed on one of them from the Northeast and the Midwest. These are corporate and association buyers that can impact both short and long term both convention and smaller regional programs and, hotel specific programs as well. And then we have another one from the Mid-Atlantic. That's that DC market. That's that long-term big group association. And they're going to be here in July. So we are really working on some good things there. Now, next slide, please. What we have to do is to continue to focus our strategies, to focus on our strategies and tactics. Breaking it down, we want to capitalize our industry alliances. This is why we are participating with PCMA and MPI and ASAE and Connect, like we're down here in Vegas. It is raising our visibility and getting access to the customer, the actual convention meeting sorcerer and planner that is giving us the opportunity to take market share from other destinations. We're leaning into one-on-one appointments. We're leaning into the visuals and the meeting guides and that we have produced, the videos and everything, and putting it in their hands and letting them really get an appetite to come down here. We also want to introduce and educate and pique their interest. And of course, who doesn't like opportunity to get some savings? One of our major strategies is to incentivize them and having a group promo. We have a group promo that can give you up to $25,000 towards a reception, or very significant room rental discounts to get those starter groups to come into the center, not only during the construction phase, but then as the opening year and beyond pull in. And then, of course, we want to cultivate our proactive sales culture. And that's all about who are we going to aggressively market with our sales calls, with our prospecting of our strategic account lists, and we roll those account lists. So as we identify new ones, we're finding new customers that haven't been in the destination in a while, and we're definitely changing the profile, looking at the medical and the healthcare and the engineering type groups that Mike had mentioned earlier. Our sales missions, bringing them down here, reaching out to the partners like you that are out there. We want them to see everything Fort Lauderdale has to offer. There's so much, and it's so robust. So our sales missions are the right customers to the right places, and our hotel partners really work on making that happen for us. Listen, we know the mission. We know it's all about visibility. We know it's all about making the deals happen for people to come visit. But we're all a big team, so I want you guys to really remember us when you're out and speaking to people. Let them know about the group promo. Have them send leads. Every opportunity we'll look at 3 ways over to make sure that we're giving them the best value, but also giving us the best economic impact. So that's what we are. It's a total circle. We all work together, and the more we bring in, the more people will be interested in the destination. So let's go out there, tour the center, see all the great things. Look at what's, imagine that Seatrade was just there a couple weeks ago, and how it was. You saw that video. Walk that center, see the facade, and see what the future possibilities are, and then send us leads. And we have a promo out there, so let them know what's out there, so that we.
Eduardo, thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. So, that wraps up our formal presentation. That's it.
Yeah, do you have any questions and comments? Mike? Which is good.
Mike, does that help?
Yeah, I think so. I can say that because I'm a non-hotelier, right? So I would imagine if I owned a hotel, I'd be a little concerned that the focus is solely on, which it should be, don't get me wrong, but are there partnership programs that it's solely pushing to the convention hotel? And what we don't want to see is a gap in, all of a sudden there's a gap in occupancy from the other hotels because it's being pushed to that. So I can say that from another hotel guy.
The majority of our business actually look outside the convention center. So there are promos. We'll do anything to get business.
Yeah.
We offer promos for business that's coming from out of town. So we won't offer any incentives for business choosing between Broward County hotels already. We're not here to cannibalize, but we do fill a lot of the properties throughout the county. We have groups that are small. So yeah, we can get detailed for that next time. But I think you were heavy on the convention center for this presentation, just because we're here.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I mean, we need to make sure this is a running success, right? So,
$2 billion.
Yeah. We need to make sure, yeah, so be sensitive to the people who also help. Anybody?
Just one comment on that. This is Mike. I did want to mention that all 9 of our sellers sell both aspects. They sell individual hotels as well as convention centers. So the focus is on both. Just in this particular example here, we're talking about mostly convention center, only because it's obviously the biggest thing to resurrect, if you will, and so forth. But yeah, they're all dedicated to sending leads, uncovering leads at events for individual hotels. We've got an incentive plan specifically during the months of June to October, which is to incentivize, help close business for the individual hotels. But we attend a lot of shows too, like FICPA, which is focused on financial and insurance, the short-term type corporate groups that can influence individual hotel bookings. So that's a huge focus. I mean, we equally spend our time on both. We have a lot of aggressive sales calls in different Northeast cities, because we know that's the driver of, again, corporate business and short-term business. And some of the destination previews that we're doing too are focused on third-party planners, the sort of folks that also have that mixed bag of different group segments.
Okay. All right,
Awesome. Thanks, Mike and Eduardo. Thanks for waking up so early and dialing it.
All right, we're gonna go hit the expo floor now. Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody.
I have one quick question. Steve shared with us a lot of the airline info, which seemed to be a very value operator. Do we know if that's indicative of the customer that's coming in after, we're going after an upscale market in some areas, that type of information that maybe this time or another time could help us understand who is coming in? And is that reflective of who we're seeing?
Well, as Steve,
I don't know if he's going to have that info versus
talking about-
us in our research, right? If we're seeing that the majority of airline business coming in, from what I interpreted today, is value
Yep.
business, airlines, is that indicative of the customer that we're starting to see come in?
That's a good point.
I've seen.
Okay.
I did want to just point out 2 new people on our team. Glenn Allen is our new vice president of sports and
Morning, everyone.
events. And then we have Mary Haven as our new public relations manager, who's just joined the comp team. So we're growing and evolving.
Right. So we can go on to new business. old
You
business.
can.
Okay, great. So we'll go on to new business, old business. Just real quick, I want to just mention for spring break. Okay, I would say we're a bit lucky this year because the Def Leppard drummer got beat up outside for 4 seasons. Didn't really hit the press because Miami had worse issues going on. Okay, so I am very concerned about how we manage spring break moving forward. Because if you look at Miami and Miami Beach, those operators, hotel operators and the restaurateurs on it are dying. It's the biggest time of the year, and it being put under curfews and things like that. And if we don't start looking and trying to manage this, we're going to end up in the same space. So I don't know. I have a meeting with Chris Lagerblum this week to talk about how the policing are going to manage it, things like that. But I think we need to have a conscious, united effort to go. What's that?
Greg.
Greg. Excuse me. Did I just say Chris Lagerblum? I just saw him yesterday. Yeah. So Greg. But anyway, so I want to. Do you CDD have any thoughts on that or?
We have tried to move away from the spring break season for the last couple of years, and I think we've done a pretty good job of that. We are working, hand in hand with the county and the cities to ensure that, we have the level of protection that's necessary, but we can't guarantee safety anywhere. And we will continue to try to market away from that spring break. And bring in more families and other.
Okay. Does anybody have any old business they want to review before we go around the table? And considering that we have a tour left, I'd like to just kind of keep it at 30 seconds as an update. That's okay. So in regards to restaurants, obviously things have been very good. We kind of follow the trends that all tourism does. So it's been very positive. We are seeing a much higher spend this year, which is kind of interesting considering that perception of the economy is starting slow, but the spend is elevated, which is good. So anyways, that's fun.
I don't have much. We're kind of, everything's good at Cambria. Yeah, it's just status quo. I mean, we're looking for small group. It's interesting. I've had 2 group leads today for the next 60 days. So it's interesting. It just gets smaller and smaller. You know, we're excited, but everything's good there.
Okay, so in the last couple of weeks, I met separately with the Small Inns in Pompano and the Lodging Association in Lauderdale by the Sea. It seems like almost unanimous that they're all super booked for next winter already, almost sold out, the small lodgings. On the other hand, this summer and fall bookings are falling a lot shorter than last year as far as how we're progressing bookings. So it's a mixed bag. The other thing is Pompano Beach, if anyone's interested, they're creating this new downtown from scratch with acres of land that have been filed over the last 20 years. The 2 master developers that are on the short list are going to face off in a public hearing. And we'll see what they have to say on May 3rd at 5:30 p.m. It should be quite interesting because to build a whole downtown from scratch the way you want it and to hear what the 2 different master developers' visions are is going to be pretty interesting. So that's at 5:30 p.m. May 3rd at our cultural center.
Maureen, for seeing some new faces. I don't know if it's the room that's making it new, but I am Marie McKenzie with Carnival Corp, and we have 9 global brands, just in case. 3 of which are home porting out of Port Everglades here, Princess Cruises, Holland America Line, and Seabourn Line. I will say just generally as a corporation in total, we're doing pretty well. We are trending ahead of 2019 numbers. Everybody looks at business pre-pandemic, post-pandemic. Speaking to our brands out of Fort Lauderdale, I'd like to just highlight Princess Cruises in particular, who is based right here. I can tell you that President has assured me he's making Port Everglades a home for now for his ships. He wants to be a true member of the Fort Lauderdale community with his ships. And he's expanding that program with some of his newest ships out of Fort Lauderdale going into the Caribbean region. So in summary, I'll just share that.
Hi, Meredith. I'm a travel advisor. Great to see Steve and hear the message delivered. My only comment is that overall, this was a most informative meeting.
Bob Kiesler, hotel consultant with Windsor and Fisher. Market strong, a lot of short term. So we'll just see where we keep going.
I won't take too much time. Raylan Story, City of Hollywood, and just want to let you know that Hollywood has been working with a number of coastal cities, our public works team on the Sargassum issue, and I think that they're all trying to work together on that, so that we're looking at it somewhat collectively. So we can talk if you need more information about that effort. And then, on the sort of what's new in Hollywood, we have a pretty significant streetscape improvement to our downtown area that's going to widen the cafe zones, and it's about a $14 million investment that the construction will start next month on. And then on one of our large golf courses, a 36-hole golf course, we've entered into a public-private partnership for the redevelopment of that course, and world-class golf course designer that designed Torrey Pines, Reese Jones, is going to be the golf course designer for that course. So that will be, something that we'll be developing over the next couple of years, and it does have a hotel component with it.
Great job on the panel yesterday too.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
David Muir, Island Syndicate. Things are pretty good. We are busy now because there is a lot of movement in municipalities in Broward County. So we have strong business. But I think the thing that I'd like to point out in my 30 seconds, but is that the Island Space Caribbean Museum just reopened this past weekend, and we had great visitor numbers and a lot of very happy people with the improved space and so on. So for those who are unaware, the museum sits inside of the Broward Mall, and it's been a great upgrade, and we're very excited about what's happening and the various events and activities that are coming up in the coming months. So thank you.
Morning, Bobby Rodriguez. The Florida Renaissance Festival, excuse me, just ended 2 weeks ago, and happy to announce that we had another banner year. We had 100,000 people, and we're hoping to keep growing post-pandemic. Another event, April 29th, will be the return of the Fort Lauderdale Pirate Fest, which I'm producing. First time back since pandemic.
Jim Pankella, Logomar Resort. Q1 was very good for us. January, pretty much status quo. February, same thing. March was down a couple points, but we made it up in ADR. Spring break, we were really busy last week for Easter. We don't get the spring break so-called college kids. We get the families, as you know, but it's very good for us. And seaweed, yeah, seaweed's there, but we get seaweed every year about this time. I guess we're just supposed to get a lot more than previous years. It's all good. Thank you.
Chris Bielski, Harbor Beach. Group is stronger than ever. Very short term. Of course, they don't pay the same average daily rate as our leisure customers, so that hurts us a little bit. They spend a lot more money. And for us, it's all about the total spend. Our leisure rates, as far as ADR is concerned, the growth is not as strong as it has been the last couple of years, especially in a 650 room hotel. Our goal is to keep that hotel full. So we sometimes have to lower our rates, not less than our competition, but be competitive. And it's hurt us in March a bit, but we're still pacing way higher than 2019. Much better than 20. About flat last year as far as total ADR is concerned. Not what we budgeted, not what we hoped for, not what our owners wanted, but it is what it is. So we're doing the best we can. And I hate this rain.
Yeah. Fun. Ron Greater Fort Lauderdale Alliance. All of our target industries are still very strong. We actually have more job openings than people to fill them, which is not the issue in a lot of places around the country. There's actually, we're paying a lot of attention to the 300,000 layoffs in tech industries around the country, about 100,000 out in California. So we're just wrapping up this week a 2-month billboard campaign there called Fort Lauderdale to the Rescue, hiring 10,000 plus tech jobs and no state income tax. So that's our outreach to them that we have those openings, and those openings are just in the target occupations like software developers, software engineers, cybersecurity experts, and AI people. So it's not everybody in tech. We have a lot more openings than that in tech in general, but that's where we are right now.
Nice. Matt McNeil from the Broward Center, Parker venue, Aventura, representing all of that stuff in the live event space. And as you probably all know, like live events, concerts, it's boom town. It's the biggest era that I can remember in my 25 years here. Last time I remember it being this robust in the live concert business was, mid 90s. So it's been working out really well. Don't know when the end's going to come, which is not a bad thing. We're coming off of November to right about now is our absolute busiest time of the year for all of our spaces. It starts to slow down a little bit now, but we are coming off of, 2019 was our biggest year in our 30-year history. We're probably going to be in the top 3 when this year ends. And 23, 24, which includes our new Broadway season, is already at about 80%. So it looks like another good year for the live entertainment industry. And our numbers actually really match the airport statistics coming in because we get a lot of Canada, get a lot of customers from New York, New Jersey, Philly, and Baltimore. You can get on a plane, get to Fort Lauderdale and see a show, and stay in a hotel for the same or less than you can in New York. So our visitors really look similar to what the airport shows. So.
Joellen from Sawgrass Mills Colonnade. Business is good. Luxury's been really good the whole time. Christian Louboutin's going to open an outlet in the near future. Interior Sawgrass also is looking really good, which is reflective a little bit more of the international shopper. We're seeing Brazil, Colombia, Argentina, Ecuador coming in. Israel, which is nice. We see that a lot in our New York, New Jersey properties is also popping up. So that's reflective again of what some of the airline business we talked about coming in, and starting to see some of the group business come back. It's taken a little bit longer. It's been mostly FITs coming in. So groups are starting to book now as well.
Melissa Milroy with Galleria, and not a lot to report, just overall business this first quarter has been good. We do like the rain, I'm sorry.
Our spa business is up.
But our restaurants are doing well, and many of you don't know, we listed our property to the east of us, so that's on the market right now. We'll make a decision on it next month, and more to come.
All right, good morning, everyone. Michael with Margarita, Hollywood. I think the same thing, I remember us in January saying that January was really well. February was just going crazy at that point in time, but we had some concerns with March. So the good news is March pulled through for us last minute. We probably all had some anxiety and we did. So we lost a little bit in rate and we thought we weren't going to make our forecast, which was lower than budget, but then we came in and made the budget at the end. So it was a nice win to finish first quarter out like that. Last weekend, a week before, we just finished Sabre SoFlo on the beach. So about 1,600 plus people coming to that event per day. Cami is looking to do that again for next year. She has her dates, sent them over, so she'll start the process again with Hollywood and everything about permitting and all those types of things. And she is looking to add a fashion show September 30th of this year. She wants to do an annual fashion show in Hollywood as well. So that's something that's coming up that we're working on now.
Okay. All right, so I guess we'll do a tour.
And just one comment. Do we need to say anything about Visit Florida?
Yeah, okay. Actually, there's two comments because I was going to bring that up. And I'm also, so that's a bigger conversation, right? But what about Port Everglades not changing to Port Lauderdale? Okay, I mean, I don't know if everyone's aware, but there was a study that was going to be done. There was a lot of confusion in the cruise marketplace about where Port Everglades is it by Sawgrass or is it? And the county decided not to change the Canaveral, right? So is there do we have any feedback on why that decision was?
I think you have to ask the board to
Yeah, I was like,
discuss that. They had, I think, some confusion or saw some confusion with the research study that if they named it, changed the name, it would cause further confusion or something, but I shouldn't even say anything. I think that'd be an Alan Kennedy question, probably.
It's unfortunate that we work in silos because the tourism industry has a lot of say in the port, right? And they think that this board should have some say on the marketing of that because of the confusion. So anyway, and then yes.
I'll do a takeaway on the cruise perspective
Yeah.
of that decision as well. Get back to you.
Okay, great. Yeah, because I would imagine you guys be at the table, right?
And I'm happy to weigh in the city's perspective. I mean, more than 70% of the port is in the city of Hollywood, and the city of Hollywood's founder was one of the people that invested heavily to create the port back in the day. So there certainly was, some, I think, interest that Hollywood had in that discussion as well. So, I think that it's one of those things that probably merits a little bit more conversation. And I don't think that everyone felt that they were really at the table for, all of that discussion, and that, the port honestly is doing very, very well right now. So I think it's important that we all recognize that cruise business is doing very well. Disney has come to the port. The containerized cargo at the port is setting record levels. Port Everglades, under the leadership of Jonathan Daniels, is very, very strong right now. So, I mean, there may not be a problem that we're necessarily needing to solve.
Well, that's an opinion, okay?
Absolutely, and that's what this is about, so.
So I wouldn't say it's a problem. I think it's just an understanding, just understanding the decision. That's it. But you
Yeah,
said
absolutely.
maybe there's some Hollywood component to it. I would.
Well, I don't think.
I would just want to understand what the decision, what drove the decision.
And I'm happy to.
I'm just saying that, listen, our agency here to promote tourism is now Visit Florida, okay? So I think as a consistent messaging, regardless of what it's called, it should be somewhat consistent, right? If it was called Visit Hollywood, I'd be, don't say, hey, let's call it Port Hollywood, okay? But yeah, as an overall, okay? In my mind, Broward County has a huge identity crisis, okay? City of Miami, Miami Beach, Miami-Dade County, it's all Miami, okay? Greater Palm Beaches, Palm Beach Island, West Palm Beach, it's all Palm Beach, okay? We are Lauderdale Highway, Broward, Plantation, Pembroke Pine, you know, we have a huge identity crisis. And I don't think these types of decisions in our favor. So having said that. So let's go on to Visit Florida, okay? Who wants to give an update? Did you, Bob, or since your brother is running? Why don't you?
Should I call him?
Before you leave it, so are we at, still at Port Everglades?
Yes.
Hi, that's all.
I don't.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I mean, for those who don't know, there is a bill working its way right now in the House of Representatives that will basically cripple and kill Visit Florida. The bill has all kinds of outsourcing of revenue. It has you can only use matching funds. Those funds cannot come from your tourism tax development. It literally, even though the legislature last year gave Visit Florida a 5-year life, this bill will totally and completely gut it. Completely, as well as there's a rider onto the bill that will allow counties to use tourism development tax for police, sewer, expanding the use of tourism development. It was very interesting in the hearing 10, 12 days ago. Every single tourism commission spoke against the bill. Every single, the Florida Chamber of Commerce spoke against the bill. It was about 15 different entities speaking against the bill. The only group that spoke in favor of the bill was a little organization called Prosperity for America, which, for those of you who don't know, is the Koch brothers. And the bill passed almost unanimously going through.
So I do something for the Florida board. The most recent update is it is House Bill 7053. Yes. It has made it to, it was pulled from the agenda today, or did not make the agenda today for Ways and Means. We're waiting for next week to see if it makes it. It is gaining more strength than usual, as it is targeting one of the pieces it targets is the rural community. So the rural communities have bonded, obviously, because they see that this is helping their fund some of their outside resources. So it is growing legs much quicker than anyone would have thought.
Yeah.
There is no Senate bill back in.
There is no Senate bill right now, which our Chamber of Commerce is aiming towards the Senate. But if I'm not mistaken, it's like 70% of the funds for Visit Florida would have to go to state parks and rural communities.
It's rural.
So not only would we be funding it, but we'd be funding it for counties that aren't us.
Right.
Which is typical for this county.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you for the update. So do we want to do a tour?
Yeah.
Is anybody else? Okay, so can I have a motion to adjourn and do the tour?
So moved.
Thank you.
So bring your stuff with you. We're gonna start the tour right outside the front door here. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
They actually do.
Yeah, they come around every so often.
Yeah, it's either you
Yeah.
or.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of heavy.
It's very happy.
Yeah, very heavy. It's not heavy. It's not by significance.